Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I am Kelley Pitts, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Lubbock, Texas, and I'm thrilled that you've tuned in, whether you're watching live on Facebook or live on YouTube, or if you're watching the replay. I'm glad to have you. Hope you'll comment and let me know who you are and where you're from when you come in. And I just realized I didn't post that on my Facebook page. Let's see if it went through real quick. I shall be right back. I'm going to see if it shows up as an event. No, it's not showing up. Oh, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it is. Hoorah. Okay. All good. Let me share it to the group because I'm not sure if I did that. And then I'll be right back with you, peeps. Sorry. Trying to do several in a row. It is a little busy. Trying not to keep y'all all day. And I've got to switch over to get ready for finish getting ready for my Valentine class that I do tomorrow. But today, now we're on cards 10, 11, and 12 from the virtual card retreat that Stampin' Up! Did this last weekend. And Eileen and Tanya and I did it, as well as I know Sharon McCartney, and I'm sure maybe Andrea, I'm not sure, Cabot might have. I don't know. She commented on one of my other videos, and I did not catch whether she got to attend or not. But the retreat is still available. The virtual card retreat is still available. They ship you a box, and it has all your goodies in it. It's awesome. It has, I know you've seen this on other videos probably if you've watched the others, but there's one stamp set that is only for the retreat, and then the Forever Florals has a stamp set and a die set that will also be available in the mini catalog for starting in April. So customers will be able to buy it. Oh, it might be April instead of March. I'm not sure exactly, but demonstrators can buy it now on the pre-order, except for this. This is exclusively only for this retreat. So you'll get all the instructions and links to the videos and all that stuff. So I just thought I would go through and show you some of the cards and techniques and fun things I learned. Just give you an overview of the cards. So I thought that would be fun. And let you know kind of if you're still interested, it's still available and would love to. The supplies are linked in my YouTube video if you're interested in checking those out. All right, we're going to start with card number 10, and then we'll do 11 and 12. And I'm just going to switch the camera over here for this card, and I'll tell you, mine is pretty close to what they did. And I'll show you how we did these little strips and everything. But first, let's see. Let's see what all I'm going to show you with this card. Didn't get to plan really far in advance, but let's see. I have a little bag full of goodies that I had left over from the retreat. Hold on just a moment. I'm digging for it in my pile. Okay. This is one of the sheets. We actually had a whole different one available, and we used this one. So we used one sheet and had this one extra. Oh my gosh, my fingernails, I've got berry burst everywhere. Sorry about that. But we poked these little flowers out and then used those on a lot of the cards, including this one. You can tell these are the little popped up flowers. And then we used, so we're using the negative space and the positive space for this card. And then I saved all the other little flowers that we didn't use and used them on other cards. And then this one, they put a full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 sheet of this pink graph paper, bubble bath graph paper. That's what I called it. And so I cut that out of the middle of mine since it was going to be covered anyway. Oh, and that's cute with the frame like that, isn't it? That's really cute. And you could use the inside on a different card. But anyway, I digress. This came out of that pink background first before I glued it down so I didn't waste that paper. I'm going to use it elsewhere. Okay, I'll show you what we did on these little, where the little holes are poking through. we had little strips cut like this. And so I'm going to show you what we did to those. And we just took, let's see, Calypso Coral was one. Let's see how you can see the best. Is that better? I'm not sure. We'll go back to this. I'm used to stamping from the right, I guess. Okay, and we're going to stamp with our little bar stamp. I don't know, bars, lines, whatever you want to call it. I love this stamp and used it on quite a few things. I know Sharon McCartney said that was one of her favorite ones too. Okay, Forever. Oh, Tanya, you're right. That's right. That's why I was thinking earlier that customers could order it in March. You're exactly right, Tanya. Thank you for that. The Forever Floral Bundle is not going to be in the new mini catalog. It's going to be in the online exclusives. So thank you for clarifying that, Tanya. She's one of my team members. Happy to have her join. Okay, now, so we did that on all these little strips. And then you can see that that just turns into that when it's hidden behind those little flower openings. Isn't that cute? And then to have a different texture on the bubble bath one, we used bubble bath ink, and we used this little flower and just stamped randomly on that. Doesn't matter if they overlap or don't quite meet or anything. Just get it on there. And there's that. So y'all can see those two textures. And then we just put those strips behind there. This one is petal pink, and all I did to that one was add a little bit of Wink of Stella kind of to make a flower center. And then these white flowers that popped out of here, we just used Calypso Coral Stampin' Blend to make a little center on it. And then I think I pretty much did what they did on their card, except, let's see. Oh, I don't do a lot of white on white. So I used the blending brush as the bubble bath blending brush in the background for that to make it stand out a little more over the background. And the only other thing I was going to show you on this card, you have to be really careful with delicate dies. It is easy to pull them apart like I did when you're taking it out of the die. So I was just going to show you these release holes. This doesn't poke anything out of the die. It is just called a release hole. So you just push it and you can get that started, push it, get that one started, and then push the bottom one. And usually it's easier. I went ahead and did cardstock on this one. I'm not sure if I even had any more. I don't think I did, of the two-tone cardstock in lemon lime twist that came in the kit. But if you will start from the bottom and pull that way, you're less likely to tear it up. And just be really delicate, especially where it's just that stem there when you pull this out. And I still broke it. So I've just used this a lot. I would say if you have trouble with one of them like this, like I did on the big one, I would put the wax paper in between. And most of the time, it's not going to matter. You're going to be able to just glue these down. Like you'd never know that there was a break in there. But it is delicate, so I wanted to tell you about that. Okay. Now I'm just going to show you on these to make these leaves two-tone. All we did is take the Stampin' Blends, and these have lemon lime twist, and then we used Old Olive and just kind of brushed that on one side of the leaf like that. Doesn't have to be exact. It can go over, in and out, whatever. And I just kind of did all the tops or all the bottoms, whichever way. And then I tried to color the stem like that. And that makes a two-tone leaf similar to that. Isn't that easy? Compared to, and it just has a lot more personality than just the one-sided, don't you think? I liked it. Let me see if you can tell a little closer. See, this is just the one flat lemon lime twist, and then that has the old olive marker on it. Okay. That, I think, is it for that card. We did the bubble bath flowers in there and then did the little row of lines. And I wanted to note, this was one of the tips they shared that they recommending. I always do this when I'm stamping on the front of a card or on a die cut or something. I always go off the edge to kind of make it, give it an more organic feel, more natural feel. But I usually avoided stamping across the crease because I thought the score line would mess it up. But she suggested, I think it was Melody, I'm not sure which presenter it was, but they stamped across the score line even in the card if you're just decorating the inside of the card. So I thought that was something different that I didn't do all the time. Okay, thanks, Sharon. Yeah, that's an easy detail to do, to just add a little marker to your leaves and make them two-tone. It's a good, easy way to do it. Okay, so that's that card. I think that's all I needed to share with you on that one. We'll put that back in its little envelope, which, speaking of envelopes, I just did the bubble bath on there very lightly on the flap and on here. Probably overkill, but since it was such a light color, I got carried away. All right, that's card number 10. Now we're ready for number 11, which is this one. And I did this one. I don't know, Sharon, did you do yours the way they had it, where you were, it had, they poked holes in the top and the bottom of this label, which this is one of those labels like we used on the other card that is one of the die cuts. And I'll show that to you. I think it's the medium one. It's this one. So it's a full die, and then we just cut it in half and used half on the top and half on the bottom. And they used thread and somehow made it where it would move up and down on the thread, but I just didn't have time to do that right then, so I made mine without the thread, and I think it worked just great. But I did want to show you one of the things that they did here. Does that look like striped DSP to you? We didn't have any striped DSP. Do you want to see that magic happen? I can't hear you. Let's see. We took a Berry Burst. Well, they took a cloud cover marker, but I had Berry Burst, so I decided I was going to use Berry Burst. But I just took the brush tip end, lined this up on the grid paper. You wouldn't have to, but you could. Let's see. Let's just take a little bit down here. This will be easier, I think. Let's go in this corner. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of take this as a guide, and you don't ever want to use your brush tip like this where you're pushing down on it. You will ruin that tip in a heartbeat. You don't want that. So just kind of hold it a little more parallel to the table. And I just took and drew lines. If you want to use the grid paper, that's great. If you want to just freehand it, that's what I did. And suddenly, and if you will put your cap down and try not to rush, just go all the way across your paper, and your piece will be smaller. Of course, I didn't think about cutting it beforehand, but that's where I got that little bobble, is doing that. But that's it. That's all I did to get the striped paper. Isn't that easy? Okay. Oh, Sharon said, yeah, she attached it to assembled the front before attaching it to the card base, so the twine was hidden from the inside. Well, that's good. I just don't have any twine on the inside at all. I just didn't put it. I put it over here instead. But I did want to show you that little technique. And then the rest of it is like we've done on the other cards. You can, since this is cut out, this is all from that one big bouquet. Again, it's all stamped in Berry Bliss and then cut in half there. I did want to show you how, especially the Berry Bliss ink, and I don't know if it's because this is my old pad and not the new pad, or if if they're all that way. But I'm going to just show you on a little scrap piece here. The Berry Bliss is such a deep saturated color. And in fact, I'm going to, speaking of which, means I'm going to clean it really quickly before I move on. Okay, I was going to show you, and I'm not sure I have them in here. Yes, maybe. Yeah. Your Wink of Stella. If you take your Wink of Stella, you can follow these lines and see how that berry burst picks up. And I like that in this instance. See how now I'm suddenly painting with pink. So I want to get that off before I use it next time. Okay, see how that made that like that? So if that's what you want, that's a great thing, which I did on this one. However, on the next card that I'm going to show you, see, I was going around the edges with the Wink of Stella much later, hours later after I stamped that, and whoop, it still got a little pink in there where I didn't want it. So if you don't want that Wink of Stella to spread, especially on Berry Burst, then be careful with it. If you do want it to, then the sooner the better. With the wetter ink, it'll work better. Okay, so I just did that paper, and then that was stacked on top of here. Everything is layered with dimensionals. So this would require extra postage, but I think it's worth it. People know how much you care about them when you make a handmade card. If you're going to spend hours making something, I think it's worth a little extra postage to send it. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so these could be colored either with Stampin' Blends, or they could be stamped. Y'all have seen me stamp with a little flower and the little inside leaf and the little inside of that flower. So that's all we did there. And then we did that texture stamp once again with crumb cake over the Designer Series paper, which originally looked like, I think I have another piece in here to show you what it was before. You can see how we took the paper on the right is what it was originally. And then we stamped the crumb cake words on top of it to get that textured look. Isn't that cool how you can kind of change the personality of the paper like that? Okay. So that was that technique. And then this is a full front DSP again. So it covers the full front of the card. And on this one, I stamped it and then stamped those inside ones instead of using blends so they didn't bleed to the back. Just use the little stamps, which we don't have a stamp to fill out the inside of the flower, but you could always use the Wink of Stella like I did and actually make it smear even more if you wanted to. If you got it really wet and you wanted pink flowers, you could do that. Or you could use a blending brush like we did on a previous card. But I kind of like these white flowers. It makes those others pop because you've got that contrast. And then I just used the Wink of Stella on the leaves and added some on the flowers. And that was it for that card. And Sharon could probably tell you about all the ways they did with the twine, but I just wasn't interested, so I didn't do it. This was quicker, and I think it's really pretty. Okay, let's see. I think we're ready for the next card, unless anybody has questions. Who's watching? Okay. Number 12. We are ready. Okay, this one is another really pretty one with Berry Burst and Bubble Bath. Quadruple bees, huh? Okay, let's see. This one was a little bit different in the card base. They did not change this up a ton. Most of the card bases were just the standard 4 1/4 by, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. But I'm going to show you on this one. We have, this one is scored at 1 1/4 and 4 1/4. And I'll show you why. We're going to go ahead and burnish that score line really well so it'll lay flat for you. And then we're going to bend this one back. Gosh, my nails are horrible. Sorry, I've just beaten them up. I was just prepping for videos and not thinking about fingernails this morning. Sorry. Hope you're looking at the card, not at my nails. Okay, so that one is bent back. It's scored at 1 1/4. Then I'll show you how we got this out of that. Okay, we added a piece of the bubble bath two-tone paper stamped on it with the individual flowers or whatever you wanted, the big one or the little one, either one. It stamped on that whole thing and attached it. Okay, so it covered this whole area from the left score line to this score line. All right, all the way. Then we took this piece and took it to the die cutting machine with the die, this big floral detail die, and we put it in the machine like this. Okay, so once again, another lovely way to use this die. So, right? Yes, yes, yes. Is that right? Let me think here. Okay, this is the way it's going to be. We wanted that border, so it was this way. Yeah, is that the way I had it? I don't know. But pay attention when you're doing it. If you're trying to duplicate this look, you would just put this through your die cutting machine like that. And I would add wax paper on this strip. Okay. And before you do that, if you want to bend it back like this, what we did was take an adhesive sheet and put right here on the back. And then you don't peel the sticky off the back. You just peel the sticky off one side, stick it on here. And it should be a little bit less than 1 1/4, a little bit less than 5 1/2, so that if you get it a little crooked, it's okay. But you put the adhesive sheet on there and leave the backing on so it's not sticky. Then you take this through the die cutting machine, run that through, and you'll have this detail left. And then you adhere that on top of the bubble bath that you did earlier. Does that make sense? So you'll have all the die cut flowers here with adhesive sheet on it. Take the adhesive sheet backing off, put it down right here. And then you're going to have some jig-jaggedy edges from where this is. Okay, it's not going to be perfect because you're cutting it right there. So that's what this berry burst strip that just has this stamp, and you can stamp it on each end because it doesn't matter about the middle because you're going to cover it up with a label. So that's on there. And then the next thing we did to it was we took the little die cut bouquet that looks like a wedding bouquet to me that you would hold in your hand. We took that, and I was going to show you that really quickly, how easy this is to do with the texture stamp, which I don't think about on big dies like this. I would think that you would just have to color leaves and flowers and that's it. But no, we can make a fun card and do something totally unexpected, like stamp a bunch of words across our stamp. Whoops. And I think I will use lemon lime twist and not old olive on it. Or either I re-inked my old olive like crazy. Okay. And if you miss a little bit right there and you want to make up for it, just stamp it again. Doesn't matter. It's just texture. Isn't that fun? Okay. Now we have this that we can put on the front. Yay. Can y'all see all that texture on there? Look at that. Who would even think of that? Stampin' Up's creative team just really outdid themselves on this. I really believe. Okay. I'm hoping I don't get berry burst everywhere off of my hands. Okay. So we did this label, and then we did the "You're on my mind and in my heart." How sweet is that for a card? And then I just took mine again. I don't do a lot of white on white. So instead of leaving that white, I used my blending brush and made that bubble bath over there. And this on the inside, let's see if we did anything else. Same as the front, same as the front. stamp those little flowers just randomly to have those little pops of berry burst color. Whoops, sorry, shook the camera. Sorry. Okay, but I thought it was a really good tip on this, and I don't think I've ever done that. I've always just stuck dimensionals, and then you could see from the side, but I just didn't worry about it. But they had the brilliant idea to use either the side of your dimensional sheet, you know, the edges, or you could use foam adhesive strips and just cut those pieces where it would fill that in. Just attach the front of this die to the back of the die there. Can you see? So now we have a solid line here that fills it in. So it's, you don't have the big gaps you would have if you just had dimensionals. So I really like that tip. And let's see, the dark on the old olive, I stamped with the little flower on it to give it a little bit different texture than the one with the words. And they left theirs plain, it looks like. So, and then I added a bow to mine and added some embellishments. I'm not sure, do y'all ever mix embellishments? I did green here and white here, so I would have 3, but I'm not sold on that. I don't know if I should have just stuck with green all the way instead of putting that white one up there. I'll probably change it. Do y'all mix your embellishments like that? Okay, but that's all that I changed on that card. I just really like linen thread bows, and so that's what I did. And then we did the same on the envelope. I'm not sure what they did. I think they might have just used the little flowers, but I did the bubble bath and that one. And I think that's it for that card. Card number 12. So we only like one more set of 3 and we will be done. So let me pull these out. I'll switch the camera back over and we will say goodbye until I get to the next one, which will be soon. Okay, let's see. Have a random leaf height. Let's see. Yes, Tanya. Oh, y'all do a mix. Okay, Sharon does a mix of embellishments and Tanya does the same. I almost always use the same, but once in a while I do a mix. All right. Thanks, Sharon. I can't get to that text right now to show on screen, but I appreciate you sending that to me. Okay, here are these 3 cards, 10, 11, 12. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope this has piqued your interest. And you might want to get the Stampin' Up! Virtual Card Retreat Kit still and do it with some friends of yours. It's awesome. It's fun to do. So the link is in the video description if you're interested. I'm happy to help you or answer any questions. And I will be back. Let's see. I'm going to do another one. I'll do the last one at 5. And that way, hopefully some folks maybe who are still at work will get to catch me on that one. All right, 10, 11, 12. So we have 13 through 15 coming up. Stay tuned. Invite your other crafty friends to tune in. Thanks again for tuning in and commenting. I appreciate it.